So, Greta Gerwig and Barbie is breaking massive records. The Demeter, the last voyage of the Demeter, is out. Not in the UK. More on that and why I can't watch it. I know, shame. Coming up today in the box office roundup. I do this every single Sunday, so hit subscribe if you want to stay tuned for more of this. But we're going to take a look at some very interesting reports. And like I said, we're going to discuss the last voyage of the Demeter once we get to that as the subject of some of the box office stuff. Because, yeah, they kind of inadvertently have screwed themselves, but not them, wasn't their fault. So, a bit of a shame, really. So, like I said, let's dive into this. Hit subscribe if you're new here, guys. Greta Gerwig is breaking global and US box office records for female director with Barbie, and why the Demeter Deep Sixth Sunday update. So, let's take a look at this. Right, so Sunday AM right through. This is all on Deadline. So Barbenheimer, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, Meg 2, The Trench, all basically out this weekend, as well as, of course, previous weekends, etc. And the only opening weekend this week was the last voyage of the Demeter. So they did really well in terms of week on, week out, and yearly difference. For the same year last year, God, that's painful to say. It is plus 76%. Now, that's essentially 118.5 million for the box office. Now, the important thing to note is, nothing was really open last year. Some of it was just getting started again, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah. Is it something to sing and dance about? Maybe, maybe not. But hey, look, it's done okay. Now, Amblin Universal's 45 million costing the last voyage of the Demeter. Okay, so what's happened with that? Why? Why hasn't it done very, very well? Last voyage of the Demeter looks brilliant. It looks looks great, and we'll get to the Barbie stuff in a minute. Last voyage of the Demeter is a movie which I genuinely wanted to look forward to watching, and was more than excited to watch. It was supposed to release worldwide. It is a Universal film, but what's the issue with Universal and what's the issue with Amblin? Well, Amblin was part of E1. E1 was owned by Hasbro. Hasbro has recently sold E1 to Lionsgate, and because of that, any film that was distributed by E1 in other parts of the world is now on indefinite hold. There is no release date for these films. None. At all. Not even an estimated one. There is no release date for the last voyage of the Demeter in the UK now. At all. So, there you go. They kind of screwed themselves. But again, not their fault. But it is kind of their fault. And it's a massive shame. I'm surprised Universal doesn't just handle it. You'd think Universal could just do their own distribution here, but apparently they can't. So yay! I'm guessing that's because it's a co-production. Whatever though, but not cool. Not cool. Not cool at all. Massive shame. I was really looking forward to that. But it looks like not a lot of other people were looking forward to it. So it says here, in terms of the profitability of the last voyage of the Demeter, not going to be terrible, but it didn't open very, very well. So it did $6.5 million opening weekend. Not great. In fact, pretty bad. I'm very surprised it did as bad as that. Yeah. And it's interesting because they even note here is that was the only one which was opening this weekend, which is true. It shouldn't have done that bad. But I will say it hasn't been marketed that well. I've seen very few trailers for it. Very few posters. Very few adverts in general. I don't know why, because it looks great. And they note that Amblin makes these elevated genre mid-budget sized movies not necessarily as thrifty as Blumhouse. Which is true, but this is $45 million. Meh, $45 million, nothing to sniff at. That's not great. It's not great at all. But I would imagine because of the issues with this film, and they even note it here, Demeter will have to look to the saving grace of downstream ancillaries, so streaming basically. And I think that is part of it. That's where we're going to have to get it in the other parts of the world. The E1 was going to be distributing it, which sucks. I want to see that on the big screen. Now, what is it? Well, Barbie and Oppenheimer. They're doing great. They're doing gangbusters. Massively so. Hugely, in fact. They've done really, really well. Moving on, moving on, moving on. And this is the thing, I mean, even, again, back to the Demeter. Even these people are smashing out the Demeter. They're loving it. Loads of people love it. I don't understand why it's done so bad. Such a shame. Such a shame. Critics aren't fans of the Demeter. B- cinema score. 66% positive. What a shame. What a shame. But you can see here in terms of sort of markets and people going to watch it. But yeah, it's basically not been out anywhere else in the world at all. But yeah, so we also had, like I said, the likes of Barbie and Oppenheimer smashing it out. Great weekends again, because of course they are going to be. That's just going to keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. So Greta Gerwig has now broken, box office records for that. And that's just going to keep going. But will it be able to beat out Mario, Super Mario Brothers? Well, I mean, there's a possibility that it could. There is a potential possibility that it could. Because, again, we have it here. Barbie breaks 500 million at US box office, further cementing itself as the summer's blockbuster. And it is the summer's blockbuster. So 500 million marks pretty big. I mean, it's a pretty major milestone, hence why it's hitting those kind of records. So Barbie has grossed $502.6 million domestically, nearly $1.1 billion globally as of Saturday. And it had a $145 million budget, so plus quite a large marketing campaign. But I mean, it's a massive profits now. So the smash hit is the second highest grossing movie of the year, creeping up behind Super Mario Brothers movie. Super Mario Brothers did $574 million domestically. I don't know whether Barbie will be able to beat it. Yeah, I think it will actually struggle to beat that, in fairness. Just because it is slowing down quite a lot. Massively, in fact. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where it sort of comes down to. I mean, Meg 2 The Trench hasn't done massively well, but that's a movie which, that makes or breaks in the sort of worldwide market. It's made Tencent, so it's marketed primarily to Chinese people and Asia and things like that. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem has done a better, sort of week on, week out. It's holding strong, and I would imagine that's by and large mainly because it is the summer break and kids around able to see it, basically. But let me know what you think of this down below. Last Voyage of the Demeter. Boo! I wanted to see that. Let me know what you think. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Take care.